do it.
Okay, so welcome to this on-page SEO masterclass entitled Everything You Need to Know, but it doesn't mean everything you need to know, it means everything you need to know. So like you only need to know 20%, 20% of what you know and what you do gives the 80% of the results, similar to that. It doesn't mean I can talk about everything in 1 or 2 hours, but yeah, let's just get started. Can I switch? Oh yeah, okay. So we'll talk today about why SEO, why is it important, what are the Google ranking factors, on-page versus off-page SEO, what does this long stuff mean, which is actually refers to pretty much the same thing like content hubs or silos, pillar pages, topical clusters, or keyword clusters. They kind of refer to pretty much the same thing. We'll talk about this as well and why they're important. We'll also talk about expertise, authority, and trust, about eating, so how, why it's important in the eyes of Google to have some expertise on your on what you're writing about on your website. We'll talk about long tail keywords and how this can help to they can help you to rank higher faster. We'll talk about search intent and matching your texts and your posts to the search intent of the user. About keyword research and how to find the useful keywords that to rank for. Content optimization, keyword stuffing and why to avoid it, and entities, which is also called things not strings, and the knowledge graph. They pretty much refer to the same thing. We'll also talk about LSI keywords and what this means and how they help. So this is related to keywords that are similar to the keywords that you want to rank for, and keywords that are related to the keywords that you want to rank for. So we're going to talk a bit about technical SEO as well, but not too much because it can get quite, technical. About duplicate content and how to remove some of these issues, and about local SEO. So if you do local SEO, you have the chance to rank faster in some cases. And then we'll talk about rich snippets as well and how you can overtake the first position, even if your website is actually not first. You can somehow overtake it, and we're going to show how. So first of all, maybe you know this, maybe you've heard this joke before. What is the safest place to hide a dead body? Is the second page of Google. So yeah, maybe it's funny, maybe it's not, but it's true that nobody looks at the second page anymore. So yeah, we have this second joke, like we have the surface web, the deep web, and the dark web. You've probably heard about this before. And then we have the page 2 of Google. So yeah, but now being serious, one of the things that we've seen is that a lot of people are using ad blockers nowadays. So your efforts with paid ads sometimes might not give the results that you want because you won't even show since they're gonna block the ads, right? So and besides that, the growth of paid advertising, like cost per click in Google Ads or like cost per mile in Facebook, it's going up, it's going higher every year. So it's getting more and more costly to pay for the ads. Whereas with SEO, the results that you get are more sustainable, meaning that if you stop your efforts, your SEO efforts, and you don't do anything anymore, you're gonna still show for a while, and in time you're gonna start to the website is gonna start to go lower as well, but you're not gonna disappear overnight like it happens with paid advertising. Another reason is why we need to do search engine optimization. is because if you're not only in the first page, but if you're not in the first 3 results, then you're missing on a lot of traffic. So you can see here that first 3 results get 55% of all clicks, and yeah, that's mainly because we got so used to Google giving useful results, very useful results at the top, that we don't even need to look further away. If you get to second page looking for something, it means that you really didn't find what you're looking for. Otherwise, you would definitely not go there. So we can see here like an average of the CTR. So CTR stands for click-through rate, meaning the percentage of how many clicks each position gets from the number of impressions. So first position gets almost 30% of the traffic. The second position gets about 16% and so on. So they should probably not add up to 100% because some people might click on the first position, maybe they didn't like what they found, and they go back and click on the second and so on. But you can see that the first 3 positions get the most traffic, and you can also see that the 6th position gets 10 times less traffic than the first one. So yeah, everyone wants to be first, right? But how do we get there? Not so easy, since there's a lot of competition, to be honest, but it's possible. So this is another reason why SEO is important. You can see that I think for every big brand out there, you will see that most of the traffic comes from organic, meaning SEO, meaning the results that Google show without paid advertising. And the rest of the traffic, only less than 13%, comes from paid advertising. So you can see that if you're not using this, if you're not using SEO, then you're missing on a lot of potential, a lot of organic traffic, and of course clients, right? So this is an example of my own website. It's a niche website, so you can see it's actually not that impressive to see 3,000 something users in about 1 month and a half. But you can see the results from 1 year to another that SEO can bring. These results that you see comes from actively doing SEO since the beginning of the year. So it's about 5 or 6 months since doing stuff to improve the presence on Google, right? Now the question is, okay, but what do you do? How do you rank higher than others? How does Google choose how to rank one website compared to another one? Because nowadays there's like maybe hundreds of millions of websites or something like that. I don't know the number, but it's definitely a huge number. And it said that there's more than 200 ranking factors involved when Google chooses which would be the order to show results for a query, for a search. Of course, we won't go into all of them, and we don't need to, because every ranking factor has its own weight. So meaning that some ranking factors are more important than others. So if we go through some of these slides, you'll see that some people say some ranking factors are more important than the others, and so on. So there's no 100% consistency to everyone saying the same thing, because we don't know, right? I mean, we're just guessing based on data and stuff like that, but only Google knows entirely what happens behind the scenes. But we can definitely do a guesstimate and know that if we focus on the most important stuff, then we are going to be able to rank. So indeed, this first one is very, very important, relevance of the overall page content, meaning that if you have a page that is talking about cars, let's say, Of course, you won't be able to rank and show, and Google won't show your page for someone who looks for fruits, right? It doesn't make any sense. They're not related in any way. So of course, relevance is extremely important because Google wants to have their users happy, and they want to give not relevant and useful results for them. And then pretty much everything else is, I mean, not everything else, everything is related to how Google wants to improve the user experience. So meaning that you can even think with your own mind, like if I was Google, how would I choose to rank websites? So I want my users to be happy. So first of all, I would like to show websites that are not spammy. I would like to show websites that load fast enough for users not to wait too long. I would like to show websites that are relevant to what they're looking for. And every ranking factor comes from this decision to improve the user experience, basically. And we're going to talk about some of the ranking factors as well. So some of the ranking factors are called to be ranking factors that depend on your website, meaning on what you do on your own website, and some other ranking factors are related to what happens on other websites. For example, how many backlinks from how many domains do you get, and so on, which you don't have 100% control on, but you can still manipulate some of it, which Google will definitely not like. So if they find out that you're trying to manipulate it, that will cost you. But that doesn't mean you should entirely avoid it, because pretty much everyone is trying to do that, to be honest. But you have to know how to do it in such a way that you're still useful for the users and you don't spam and so on. Yeah. So talking about this, that's why we have what we call on-page and off-page SEO, meaning, like I said earlier, what you do on your own page and what happens off your website. So on-page SEO would actually be these two together, if you can consider that but it depends on how you look at it, but they're both about what happens on your own website. So this refers more to the content that you have on your site, so the texts that you have, the images, the relevant keywords, how good your website is as a user experience, and so on. And the technical part refers to making sure that the search engine can crawl your site and index your content, like you see written here. And the off-page is more about how many links, what kind of links from what kind of websites do you receive. So these are also called backlinks. So links that from websites that link back to you. So this can be done in many ways. So you can gain links in many ways, but we won't talk today about off-page, about how to get links, because this is an entire topic on its own. So we can definitely do this next time. Today we'll just talk about the on-page part. So you see here another segmentation about on-page versus off-page. So on-page, here you see it says about optimizing the content, the meta tags, and other elements on your own site's pages. It refers to the content marketing, the keyword optimization, the images, and the page speed, and other things like that. And then the off-page, like we talked about, like link building campaigns and guest blogging, and what you do on social media, which can gain you traffic and can actually help a bit with gaining authority as well. Yeah, this would be maybe another segmentation of on-page versus off-page. It's pretty much the same thing, just maybe this image maybe added a bit more details. But we're going to talk about some of them in a short while. So first, what's very hot right now, to be honest, related to on-page optimization is this concept of content hubs or content silos, or topical clusters or whatever. They have multiple names, but they refer to pretty much the same thing. So it goes like this. If you are a website that you want to rank, let's say, for cheese in this example, for if you write just one article, only one page on your website that is talking about cheese, then you're not going to have any chance to rank, to be honest, because there's a lot of other websites out there that covers the topic in more detail than you do. So this is called something like topical authority. What's your authority on this topic, on this niche? So when you, for example, if you have 1,000 pages related to this and nobody else, or actually, let me give another example. If nobody else wrote about cheese ever in their life on any website and you're the first one to write about, you're definitely going to be number one because nobody else talked about this, right? But when other websites talk in details about this, then everything else being equal, let's say, why would Google choose you when you're not an authority on this topic, since you have only one page of your website? And why wouldn't they choose someone who has maybe dozens or maybe hundreds of pages related to this topic? So that's what this content hubs is about, and it helps quite a lot. Basically, what you can do is you start with the main topic. This in the middle will be the main topic, is also called a pillar page, and then the rest of the would be other pages that talk about different stuff related to that main topic, and they link back to this pillar page. So let's say this would be probably your money page, meaning the page that you would make money from. Let's say you sell cheese, right? So you want you have this page is maybe a category page or a product page that you sell cheese on, and you know that when people are coming to this page, they will buy, right? But then you want to make sure that you get this page higher in Google. Then you create all these pages that help this page by covering the topic in more detail and by linking back to this. Does it make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So then this would be another example for topical cluster. So here is a website that wants to talk about content marketing. So then it creates a different pages, that one page that is called content marketing team. And maybe this is a services page that, hey, we are this team that we offer these services related to content marketing, and this is what we do, and so on. Contact us. And then maybe this is a more informational page, like learn content marketing with these 5 examples, how to do this stuff, how to do this stuff, and so on. Then another page would be content marketing jobs we're hiring, and so on. So you can use any content that comes to your mind, as long as it's relevant to you, and as long as it's relevant to your niche as well. And you can actually go even more broader than that. You can have multiple content hubs or clusters that they connect together, right? So let's say this would be a content about Christmas trees, right? And then I create these other subtopics about how to choose a Christmas tree, how to decorate a Christmas tree, what to look for when buying a Christmas tree, where you can find the cheapest Christmas trees, and so on. Then this subtopic would be about maybe artificial Christmas trees, and I create all these other pages related to this subtopic. And maybe the main topic is related to Christmas, and then I create a subtopic related to Christmas decorations, and some other subpages that talk about how to choose the decorations, and so on. So you can go as wide as you want, but it's so it's more useful to don't go too wide at first, meaning that you need to be talking about the same sub niche a lot at first to gain topical authority on that subtopic, and then you can go to other subtopics or shoulder niches and so on. Okay. Any question about this before we move on? Okay. By the way, you can just stop me anytime and ask questions. This is actually supposed to be better if we are discussing instead of just me explaining.
What are internal links? What are internal links? Are they just links from one page to another on the actual page, or?
Oh, good question. Internal links are links on your own website. It can be from one page. Usually it's from one page to another. But it can be, what's it called? I think, is it called jumps links? Is the ones that are the links that is on the same page and can jump you from one section to another. So with internal linking, it's good that you asked me this. With internal linking, you basically connect the subtopics to each other. You connect the pages to each other, and this helps Google to find out your content more easier. So this is a very, very important thing to do, to add internal links from in your blog posts to other blog posts, to some of your category pages, to some of your product pages, and so on. So it definitely helps the Google spider to find out your pages easier, and it also helps your users to discover new content, new pages, and so on. So it's both about user experience and about making it easier for Google to find your content. So a proper internal structure of your pages and of your internal links can actually help a huge amount of deal to make your website rank high in Google. Even if you don't have I've heard that even if you don't have backlinks, you can still rank if the topic you covered or the sub niche you are in doesn't have too much competition. So yeah, it depends a lot of on the competition as well. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Okay. So next thing is expertise, authority, and trust. So Google wants to make sure that it doesn't rank the wrong website. So this applies especially in industries that are more sensitive. For example, the medicine industry, the health industry. So for example, if I just want to rank a blog about health, why would Google rank my blog if I'm no health expert, right? So they want to make sure that the information that I provide comes from real expertise, right? Not from just what I dreamt last night. So of course, it depends on the niche as well. I mean, for some niches, maybe you don't really need that much expertise, but like maybe for Christmas trees, right? Who's the expert on Christmas trees? Maybe Google can't tell who's the expert, right? But on other niches like the medical niche, it's probably easier, and it's way more important for Google to make sure that they rank pages from website that actually are not, they know what they're talking about. So they're gonna most likely look at who's the person writing that article, who's quoting, what are the references they provide, the links they provide to, and stuff like that. So meaning that for some industries you will rank higher if you get some experts on the matter and you interview them and you create a post for that. So, and you quote them and so on. So that's gonna provide expertise, right? And if that guys will also link back to the article, that's gonna help you for the link building strategy as well. But it's gonna most likely prove again to Google that that expertise is it's true. I mean, since they link back to you, right? Okay, so yeah, Google wants to make sure that they rank websites that actually help the users, meaning that you can also rank higher if you are more helpful to the users. So even if you don't really have the expertise in your topic, but if you're gonna really help the users, like create posts about how to do this, how to do that, questions that they ask, right, about your product or about your niche, like how to do I don't know what, coconut milkshake or whatever, and stuff like that. So you can create these posts, and since you're gonna help the users, Google will know your website is useful because they look at stuff like the bounce rate, how long the user stays on your website, how many pages they see, and other stuff like that. So I won't get into too many technical details, but the thing is that you want to be helpful, even if that's not going to make you money directly at first, but the more helpful you are, the more Google will help you back to get more traffic to you, basically. And then the I don't know how to read this, authoritativeness, authority, basically. How high is your authority on this matter, or how high the authority of your website is? And this can come in, the authority can probably be calculated in different manners. Of course, we don't know all the details from Google, but everyone suspects they look at how many websites they link back to you, how many websites mention your brand, even if it's not a link, they just mention your website without a link, or your brand, or your name, and you're the author of the blog posts, and how strong the brands are that mention you or that give links back to you, and other stuff like are the users coming back to your website, how many users, percentage-wise, how many users go directly on your website. So if you type in directly a website name and you go there, that means in your mind that website is already a brand, because you know about it. It's already a brand for you. So everybody knows Amazon. I think nobody. I mean, not nobody. I'm wrong about that, but a lot of people. A high percentage of people go to Amazon directly, right? Because it's already a brand. So Google looks at this as well. And they look at searches on your brand as well. For example, some people might not go directly to Amazon. Maybe they go to Google and then they search Amazon and they go to Amazon. So that's still a brand related thing. So it increases authority. So that means what can you do about this is to become a brand, basically. How do you become a brand? Well, that's another story, of course. It can be covered right now, but you definitely want to grow as much as you want. And the higher you grow as a brand and as a website, the more Google will help you. So when you're small and you just start out, it's quite difficult, to be honest, but it's doable. And the more you grow, the easier it gets. Yeah. And then you have the trustworthiness. Is that, are you protecting visitor information, providing accurate information, and not engaging in unethical behavior? So Google definitely has some stats about every website, like they have some spam scores or something like that. So they look at how much spam are you trying to do, how useful your content is, and so on, stuff that we've talked previously about. And also stuff like, do you have a contact page? Is your company name listed on your contact page? Do you have the phone number listed there? Is the phone number regular phone number or a 1-800 one? So stuff like that even a user would look at to make sure that the brand that they buy from is a real brand, a real company that doesn't scam and stuff like that, right? So yeah, this would be an example about using expertise, authority, and trust. So how to do a muscle up on bars and blah, blah, blah. So you see here it's medically reviewed by some guy that is probably famous in his niche, I guess. And then there's an author bio as well here. So everything is very transparent, right? And this website doesn't seem to have some very intrusive ads to spam the user and stuff like that to just make money, you know. So that's another thing that I guess it helps with expertise or with the trust, more likely. Any question about this before I move on? Okay.
I have a quick question for you. If we, for example, I don't know, if I want to speak about health, and then I go and I see a doctor that I speak about some topic, something specific of health, and I do this, like putting the source, do I need to let them know as well, like the expert? Or if I just give them the credit and put all the information, that's enough?
So you mean you're going to quote someone?
Yeah, for example, I don't know, let's do an example. I want to speak about celery juice. So I got, and I know that is one guy called Medical Medium, that he's an expert in celery juice. So that he's super famous. I don't think that he will open an email if I send to him. So can I go to his site, take what he say, his study basically about celery juice, and then if I do a blog on my website, can I put like it's in here, like that it's a doctor, Medical Medium, he's been all this year studying cases with celery juice, and yeah, it's all right if I put it like that, or I can get in trouble?
So you need to make sure that you don't have too much duplicated content, meaning that don't just copy paste his post, of course, but you can copy a phrase, for example, and I mean you basically quote him, right? So of course you can copy a phrase to quote him, but yeah, mention him, mention his expertise and stuff like that, why he's the expert on this topic, give a link back to his website or where you got a quote from and stuff like that. So that's going to help with expertise and trust, because you're not trying to copy someone else. You're trying to create a useful post, but you're also providing the user the credentials, the why this information is real and so on. So yeah, it helps.
Yeah? Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's talk about long tail keywords and what they mean. So long tail doesn't necessarily mean that the keyword is the longest one, which in this example it actually is, but it usually means that there's a less traffic and especially less competition. So if you can find a keyword that is less, that has less competition but high enough traffic, then you should use it, because since there's less competition, it's going to be much easier for you to rank, and if there's enough search demand on this keyword, then it's going to be useful as well for you, because you're going to gain a lot of traffic. So this could be an example, like for example, one word phrases, shoes, but that doesn't mean short tail keywords or whatever needs to be one word. That's not the case. Can be one word, can be two words, but this is just an example. So shoes would be a very broad topic that has a very high demand, like high search, high number of searches, but also very high competition. And you're not going to be able to rank in the first page, not even in the first page for this kind of words if your website is new. So don't even try. And even if you do, which you won't, but even if you do, it's going to have a low probability of conversion, because someone who looks for something as broad as this doesn't really know what they want. So they're just looking around, just browsing, and they're most likely not going to buy. But when we are talking about more specific searches like men's shoes, or like Nike women's running shoes, or I don't know, Nike's red women's running shoes, that's so specific that is very probable that that person is ready to buy. They know what they want. So first of all, it's helpful to rank for this kind of keywords, because you're gonna be able to make money with it. And second of all, there's going to be less competition, because there are so many different variations of long tail keywords that the market cannot be saturated, at least not yet. Maybe after another 10 or 20 years, I don't know. But now we still have a lot of chances with this. So it's called long tail because you can see there can be a lot of queries like this, and users got used in the last years to use more and more longer and longer queries, because they got used to Google being able to give back correct answers. I mean, not correct, useful answers, useful results. This would be another example. The search term for high for high search volume would be tomato plant, tomato plant, and then when to plant tomatoes, or for a middle query. And then for the long tail keyword that has low search volume, maybe would be, why are my tomato plants turning yellow? So this person would most likely be able to be ready to even buy something that if you are able to sell something that helps with this problem, right? So it's going to have a higher conversion rate. So it's clear why this is a definitely successful strategy, since you're not gonna go in competition with so many other websites, and you're gonna actually have a lot of chances to make money with these queries as well. Any questions about this? Okay. If not, we move on. Now let's talk about search intent. So Google wants to make sure that gives the results related to what the user wants, not what the user types in. Meaning that Google is trying to find out what the user actually wants. Sometimes it can be very obvious. Like, for example, somebody searches for buy LED screen TV. It's obvious that that is a transactional search. He wants to buy, right? But some other times might not be obvious from the keyword itself. But so Google might just try to give different results until they have enough data to know what the user is actually trying to do. So you can find out also what is the search intent by looking at what kind of results does Google return for a specific search. So this would be the main three search intents. One would be navigational search, which, for example, would be if I search in Google for Amazon.com. That's a navigational search. I just want to go to Amazon. I don't know yet what I want, or I'm not ready to mention what I want, but I know I want to go to Amazon. Or maybe Amazon login page. That's also a navigational search. I know exactly which page I want to visit. And this seems to be about 10% of the search volume. And then there's the informational search, which can be posts like how to blend whatever, how to do SEO and stuff like that. So information, I want to gain information, but that doesn't mean I want to buy anything. So meaning that for keywords like how to, for example, if you are trying to rank for this query with a category page, with your product page from your shop, you will never be able to rank, because the user doesn't look for a shop at that moment. They look for information. So you can rank with a blog post. That you definitely can. And then there's transactional searches as well, which is about 10% of the search volume. And of course, these people are more likely to buy. So of course you want to rank for this kind of keywords, but everyone else does too. So this is definitely going to have much higher competition, whereas the informational searches are 80% of the search volume. People are definitely not ready to buy yet, but if you can help them a lot, then they're gonna remember your brand, and most likely they're gonna buy from you. So even if they have a lower efficiency because they have such high search volume, then they can still help you to make a lot of money. Yeah, so this shows the search intent, like again, like examples: Facebook, Citibank login, White House website, information like signs of pregnancy, Austin home prices, LCTV reviews, and then transactional: get insurance quotes, buy yard signs online, subscribe to New York Times, and so on. Any questions here? No. Okay. So then one of the most important things to find out is, okay, but which keywords should I rank for? Which keyword should I put my efforts in? So, and there's a lot of tools out there that can help with keyword research. I've used only free ones so far, but I can talk a bit about the ones that I've seen to be recommended as paid ones as well. Yeah, so this is one of the tool that I'm using. It's called Keywords Everywhere. It's an extension for Google Chrome. I think probably for Firefox as well. And when you search something in Google, you see here on the right side examples of trending keywords. But don't forget that even Google, it gives you a lot of information as well. So you can use Google itself here, and you can use Google itself in the bar here as well. When you type one word and you hit space, it's gonna give you some suggestions as well. And these are not taken out of nowhere. There are searches that users do, so there's volume on them. People are really searching for that. Then there is this tool called Cognitive SEO, which you can type your keyword here, and it will give you, as you can see at the bottom, different keywords to rank for. And if you pay, it's going to give you more data like relevancy, like probably search volume as well. Oh, someone talking, hold on. Okay, so and it's gonna show you some trend of monthly searches as well. So you can definitely see here that this search is seasonal because it's about Christmas trees. So every December it spikes up, November and December, something like that. So you need to decide if you are okay with that or not. Okay. Okay, this is another tool, and I've actually also used just the free version. It's called Answer the Public. And when you search for something, you'll see a lot more results than I printed here on the screen. You can see I've searched for coconut, and I see coconut palm, coconut powder, and so on. And you can take it further. I've searched for coconut, but if you search for coconut palm, you'll get different results with coconut palm, not just with coconut, right? And you can, of course, use these tools to do keyword research for selling on Amazon as well, because people are having the same tendency to search for about the same things. Yeah, this Keyword Chef, I strongly recommend. It is a freemium service, meaning that the first, I think, 1,000 keywords or so they give for free, and I took that list and I use it, and I think that's the tool that I'm gonna pay when I need more. And you see that it puts the results in different categories, like best, compare, how to, most, alternatives, ideas, and questions, and some sample keywords as well. Is parachute coconut oil, and so do coconut have protein, and so on. So you can just create content around these keywords and answer those questions, and also use the exact keywords in your content as well. This is another tool I've used, keywordtool.io. If you pay for it, you're going to see search volume as well. But to be honest, I don't really care about search volume because I can get an idea about by how specific the keyword is. Sometimes you can do that. Other times, I mean, if you want to scale up, then I guess you will need to pay at some point. But if you're just a beginner, then in my opinion, you just don't need to. You just take all the keywords that you find, like hundreds or few hundreds and so on. You group them in some groups that make sense for you to be related and so on, and you just create content about them, and that's it. And then there's the Google Ads as well. If you have campaigns, then you're going to be able to go to search term and see exactly what searches some users used to get to your website. So this is some keywords that I rank for when I have my ads turned on, and this is exactly the search term that were used. So I can take this, since oh yeah, by the way, and since I have Google Ads, then I see here on the right side, which I didn't add in the print screen, I see exactly how much money each keyword is making for me, right? So then, since I know some of these keywords are very, very profitable and some are less profitable, then I'm gonna very easy choose to focus on the ones that are profitable and create more content about it. And then there's tools like SEMrush, which offer way more than keyword research. It's one of the most popular SEO tools, SEMrush and Ahrefs. These two are, let's say, the kings of SEO tools. And I think they both offer, Ahrefs also offers some keyword research opportunities, but I'm not sure if they offer the keyword gap. This is very interesting. So you put here some competitors, you put your website and a few competitors, and then it's going to show the keyword overlap. It's going to show you which keywords your competitors use and you don't rank for. Or you either don't use or don't rank for. So you can take this list and you see it's missing or weak. You can choose which one. So you can take this list and choose which one makes sense for you, which one is okay for your website to use and make sense and can make you money. And you just create content for it. You just create more blog posts about it, more category pages about it. You add more product pages about it, and so on. This cognitive SEO, I think I showed it earlier as well, but on another screen. This you can use for optimizing the content as well. Before we talk about that, any question about the keyword research?
I have a quick question. So I actually used this one, the SEMrush, before, and I did everything, the comparison with the competitor, everything, and I have a list of, I don't know, a lot of keywords. And my problem, it comes when I had to put this into practice. There is so many keywords, and I don't even know, like, should I create a content? Like, when you say create content over that, you mean like a specific, like, you have to use this keyword as a title and then put a blog with that keyword, or that keyword you have to include it, for example, in another product page, or in another I don't know, in another blog that it doesn't talk about this, because some of them I don't know how to put that as a title. It's kind of weird.
Okay, so yeah, sometimes it happens that the keyword it's quite difficult to use as a title. Maybe it sounds strange because not every search is done literally how you talk. So yeah, that sometimes happens. And in this case, you don't necessarily need to use it exactly like that, but if it's possible, maybe maybe at least include it once in the content, like exactly like that. But other times, just use it more naturally. So, can you give an example, a specific example, so we can?
Let me see. I'm gonna open the document. Because I know that is a list. I have it here, for example.
So maybe I can give an example.
For example, one of the ones that rank more for my competitor is Kmart Bolts. With Kmart is another business, actually. It's like Target. So with that, I don't know how to use that one.
Okay, so for that keyword, I don't recommend you to use it because it's another brand. Most of the times I recommend to stay away from using the other brands' names. The only time I've seen it used is, like, for example, Ahrefs created a post for which one to choose, Ahrefs or SEMrush, something like Ahrefs versus SEMrush, and they created a huge post about the differences between the two tools and the benefits from one, benefits from another, and so on. But it needs to be extremely objective to make sure that you don't damage the competition, right? Because they can sue you later on. So, and by the way, that's a branded search, and it's not, your brand is not included. What I'm talking about was about both brands included, so Ahrefs versus SEMrush. So that when someone searches like that, then he wants more information to decide which one is better, right? But since they already talked about my brand, then I can rank. But if they don't talk about my brand, then they are searching for another brand. How do you expect to rank before the brand that they are looking for? Not really. I don't think it's easy to do, and probably not possible to rank above them, but you can still rank somewhere there without even mentioning anywhere on your website their name. So I have the same situation. Some people look for Christmas trees from other brands and they include the name of the brand, and sometimes I rank in the first page as well, but I've never included the branded name. It's just they show that brand first, and then they have to populate the results with something else. So they're looking for, okay, which other brands are relevant and have high authority on this topic. So they choose me as well, besides others. That's how you can go about that. Okay.
Okay. So basically, and if, for example, one is called, one of the one that he ranked, grape ice cream. So that you will use it as a inside, for example, creating a recipe or something, but that will be the title for you as well?
So it depends on your competition as well. So nowadays, Google can rank only portions of a page, meaning that you can just write in one paragraph about that and you can potentially still rank. But it depends, because if you have high competition or a lot more brands are talking about the same thing already and they have more content than you and they have more authority than you, then you will probably not rank with just one paragraph. So maybe you want to create an entire post about it. But if other brands have created dozens of posts about the same topic, maybe you need even more to create a few more posts about the same topic. So it always depends on what is the competition doing as well. Meaning that if the keyword doesn't have any competition, and it can happen, but for very long tail keywords that have very low search volume, then it's going to be extremely easy to be the first one. Extremely easy. Yeah. But you're going to have very low volume as well, most likely. Yeah. So there are some case studies done with some invented words that don't exist, and they try to rank, and they can rank very fast. So that proves that it's always about competition. Okay.
Oh,
so
sure.
you can.
And how often do you do the blog posts? Would you recommend to create a blog? How many per week?
As often as you can.
Okay.
Yeah. So meaning that
we now once a week.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, but I think with the I'm like beginner of SEO, so before I was doing one blog for one blog for a week, but not thinking on SEO. So basically for nothing. Now I'm correcting all of them.
Okay. So when you're just starting out, I think one post per week is good. You need to make sure that it doesn't overwhelm you, first of all. But later, when you have either you have more time or you have more money more resources to be able to pay someone to write for you, then I recommend as often as possible, as often as the budget allows, stuff like that. Meaning that the big websites out there, I mean the news websites, for example, they create new pages, like dozens of new pages per day. So that doesn't mean you need to do that as well, because they talk about a lot of unrelated stuff. If you talk only about your topic, about your niche, then of course you don't need dozens of pages per day, new pages per day. But you just need to be a little bit better than the competition, that's all. If the competition usually creates usually just creates one post per week about this topic, then if you create 1.5 posts per week, meaning maybe, I don't know, 2 posts, 3 posts in 2 weeks or something like that, then you're gonna, everything else being equal, you're gonna rank higher. Okay. So it depends. It always depends. The answer will always be, it depends. It depends on the competition as well. So there are tools to verify things about competition too.
And but how long do you recommend the blog to be?
How long? Yeah, that's a good question actually. So I recommend to not be too short, because then you're gonna be it's called thin content, and Google doesn't like that. You're just trying to spam with non-useful stuff, because if you just create 200 words, then you can't really cover that much in 200 words, right? So I would recommend to be as long as short as possible, but as long as possible at the same time, meaning that don't just talk meaningless stuff just to create content, because it doesn't help that much. It needs to be useful, but try to cover the topic in more detail. So for very, very competitive industries, like the SEO itself, it's very competitive, because there's a lot of companies, and because everyone knows what to do, right? Because they're all experts, right? They are doing 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, even 8,000 words per post sometimes. It doesn't mean in every post, but they're trying to give as much data and as much stuff possible. But that doesn't mean you need to do that. You can check the competition and see what do they do. So I think you can use this cognitive SEO as well. If you go to Content Assistant, this tab that you see here on the right, it will show you how many words per page for this keyword each competitor has, and you'll see you make the average. Cognitive SEO. So you take that average, like maybe someone writes 1,000 words, someone writes 1,500, someone 800, and whatever. So you make the average of that, and then you know how long your content should be.
This is the one that you put before, that you can add your blog and it tells you the quality for SEO, or no?
Yeah, it's the same one.
It's the same. Yeah, so that one is free as well. So if I put now a blog, it will tell me the quality of the in terms of SEO, the quality of the blog, right?
Yeah, this one. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same tool, cognitive
That
SEO.
one, yeah, awesome.
It's just different area. So it shows on how many keywords did you included in your topic, how readable is the text, how many words you have per page, and it gives some estimate on how performant is your content compared to everyone else. And then it also gives you some suggestions on, hey, your competitors that rank on the first page also included these keywords, and they talked about this stuff. You might want to do the same because it's going to help you to rank as well. So you always need to check what the competition is doing, and if it works for them, if they're in the first page of Google, in the first 10 results, then that's it. You can just you can just copy what they're doing, but I mean, not do copy paste on their content, just copy their strategy, right?
Strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are the #1 just because they started before, but I don't think that they create that much content. I'm gonna check how often, but yeah, I think that is just because they started before.
If they have thin content or they don't have much content about the niche, about this industry or niche, then it's going to be much easier for you to outrank them.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to talk now about keyword stuffing. Anyone can see what's wrong with this example? Okay, so it's definitely not a good user experience, and users don't like this. So because users don't like this, Google won't like either. Meaning that if you overdo it, Google will definitely see it and will either not rank you, or it's gonna, even if you overdo it on multiple pages, then it's possible they block your website, they ban your website, and you won't rank at all for any other page, right? Because you get such a high spam score that Google doesn't trust your website anymore, right? So make sure you don't do keyword stuffing because, yeah, it's spammy. Nobody likes this, right? But to be honest, this strategy actually worked quite a lot, maybe 10 years ago or something like that, or 12 years ago or whatever. So a lot of people did this, and there are still people that don't know they shouldn't do this anymore. Yeah, so okay, I think I've emphasized it enough. But that being said, if you just have one page like this and you have you have a strong brand and everything else is very strong with your website and so on, and you have a lot of traffic, everyone's happy, and just this page, of course they won't penalize you, but probably this page won't rank. So yeah, still not helpful. Okay, so then entities. What are entities? So the question comes from how is Google able to know? How can it tell if you put Apple as a keyword in your content? How is Google able to know if you're talking about the fruit or if you're talking about the brand? Similarly, as we do from the context, right? So if you're talking about other fruits, if you're talking about eating stuff, about diets, about the color red and the shape that is round and stuff like that, then of course I can tell that you're talking about the food Apple and not about the brand. But if you're talking about iPads and about iMacs and iOS and stuff and other electronic stuff, then it's going to be easy for me as a human and for Google as a bot to understand that this is about the brand Apple. So what can you do about this is to, when you talk about your content, about your keywords, about your stuff, about your niche, just make sure you cover it from many angles. It's going to be much easier for Google to understand what your page is about and what your website is about. And it's going to be helpful for the users as well. So this would be an example of entities or something like a knowledge graph. So this Lily is a person, is a friend of James, is interested in Da Vinci, which painted Mona Lisa, this painting is in Louvre, and so on. So you see how things are related to each other. So if I want to rank for the keyword Mona Lisa or something like that, or a Mona Lisa painting or something similar, then it's going to be much easier for my page to rank if my page also talks about Da Vinci, about Louvre, about Paris, the Eiffel Tower, or whatever, things that are related to this. Maybe other painters as well, other museums, and so on. You get the point. So this would be another example of the knowledge graph, which you can see that Michelle Obama is a spouse of Barack Obama, which has won a Nobel Prize award, which also was born in Honolulu and graduated from Columbia University, and so on. So similarly, if you want to rank for Barack Obama, you have way more chances to rank for if you add really this stuff that is related to him. This kind of also translates to LSI keywords. This is pretty much similar topic. LSI stands for latent semantic indexing or whatever. And it means it's related to this concept of entities and of knowledge graph, meaning that Google has this database of entities of related things. So similarly, if you want to rank for cold brew coffee, it's going to be way easier for you to rank if you talk about related stuff. So you can find out what to talk about if you answer questions like, what does this include? It includes ice. It has ice. How can I use this? Well, I put it in a glass, or I put it in a bottle. What is this? It's a drink, and what does it contain? It contains water and beans. And how does it work? Well, you can grind the coffee, and you can use a machine. You can do recipes, and so on. So that's how you can find out, even just without any tool, you can find out these LSI keywords by yourself just by answering questions like this. Just think as a user, right? So if I want to search for this information, what do I want to know? So of course I want to know about all this stuff, right? But of course you can use tools as well, like Google itself. So on different searches, you can find out LSI keywords or related keywords just by putting the main keyword and hit space, and it's gonna give you these suggestions. So repair, of course, is related to air conditioning, installation, unit, and so on, cost, systems, and so on. Any questions about this? Okay. Okay, so let's talk a bit about technical SEO as well. So this is also an important topic, but not, in my opinion, it's not as important. I mean, it's crucial, but in a way, but it's not as important as the content itself. And what do I mean with this is that the technical SEO, you can more likely do it once properly. If you have it properly, you can just not touch it anymore until something breaks or something like that. But the content itself, it helps to continuously create new content. Yeah, either you do it if you have time, or you pay someone else to do it if you have money, right? If you have the budget. But with the technical SEO can also be crucial, because if your site is broken, then you won't rank. That's definitely true. So if your site doesn't work anymore for a long time, you're going to lose your positions, for example. And other stuff that's included in technical SEO that helps to rank, but there are smaller factors. One thing is especially for an e-commerce website, or anything that is related to the user taking money, paying for something, it needs to be use HTTPS to be SSL secured, right? Because you definitely need to make sure that the user is safe, right? And and Google wants that. So if you're not going to have SSL secured, then potentially you can still rank, but sometimes you might have high bounce rates. Also because Google just tries to make this more and more obvious, especially if you have an e-commerce site. So it's gonna just block the page, and the user needs to click a few times to be able to go around that, which is very troublesome. So yeah, make sure you use SSL if you don't already. Next, okay, next thing on this graph. So I don't actually agree with these percentages, because yeah, I don't know what the real percentage is, but it's not like that for sure. So having a mobile-friendly website is definitely very important as well. So recently, maybe 1 year ago, I don't know exactly when, Google moved to mobile-first web indexing, which means that they're using they're trying to understand first how the website behaves on mobile and then on desktop, because nowadays there's more people using browsing on mobile than on desktop. So it's switched like maybe a couple of years ago. Yeah, so if you're not going to have a mobile-friendly website, you have very high chances that you won't rank on mobile. Very high chance. And how do you know if your website is mobile friendly? You can use Google Search Console, and it's gonna show you the issues that you have in which pages. It's gonna send you emails if you have any errors and stuff like that. Then next thing would be broken links. This is, in my opinion, less important. And there are tools out there to find out if you have broken links, meaning links that goes to some pages that don't exist anymore, or they throw a 404 error, page not found, which can be on your own page or can be on some other websites. So you can find those links and repair them, just remove them or replace them. Then structured data, we're going to talk a bit about later, so I'm not going to touch now. Preferred domain version refers to if you make the user go to www, your website, or without www. And page speed is also a factor, and it seems like Google wants to make this factor more important. So I've heard about this update that Google is rolling out to make sure that it ranks more the website that have higher page speed, but it will still not be the most important factor out there. And they specified as well that relevancy is way more important. So if you have a very slow website, but it's way more relevant than anyone else about some topic, then you still have chances to rank quite high. But everything else being equal, if your website loads faster, then you're going to rank higher than the other ones that rank have lower page speed. So it is important. Then the sitemap is like a map of the site. It refers to a list of links that goes to links for each page that you have on your website. So this is a file, an XML file that Google reads and finds out when you publish more content. So this is just, if you already have it, it's auto-generated for you. If you don't have it, you need to make sure that it's set up, and then every time you post something new, it will be automatically generated for you. Then the robots.txt is a file that can block some search agents. I won't talk much about this, but you can. What you could do about this is that you can, if you have pages that have thin content on your website that are not useful and you don't want Google to find them, then you can block the Google engine to read those pages. And how that helps is that the less thin content pages that Google sees, the more he understands that you're trying to offer useful stuff. You don't just put thin pages that have no content on it. Then the website structure can be about the breadcrumbs, can be about how the links, how your pages link to each other, how you put other stuff, other content like images and so on. Then the 311 redirection is helpful when you want to remove a page or you want to move a page from one link to another. So if you have yourwebsite.com / some URL and you want to make it yourwebsite.com some - URL, make sure you add a redirection to let Google know that you've changed the website, the page, you've changed the page address to someplace else, because those links are not the same. So if you don't tell him, it won't be able to find your page. And about this too, I won't talk right now. Okay, so the easiest stuff to talk about when it comes to technical SEO is stuff like the title of your post, which is normally and should be included in an H1 tag. So there are a few tags in HTML, and these 6 H tags, H1, H2, H3, and so on, H6, refer to headings. So Google reads those headings, and they're important to, especially H1, H and the H2. They're important for Google to understand how relevant your page is to some query, because if you have the keyword that you try to rank for, if you have it in this title, then that's a strong relevancy sign for Google. So if this title doesn't include anything related to coconut, but I want to rank for something related to coconut, it's not going to be easy, right? So it's better to include it as well. It's good to include the keyword in the URL as well, but that doesn't mean to stuff your URL with a lot of keywords. Just use one stuff. Like for example, this is what is off-page SEO. So this is an exact match for can be an exact match for a search, right? For someone that searches exactly this, what is off-page SEO? And then if this H1 tag says, what is off-page SEO? Learn from our 3 examples with 3 steps, blah, blah, blah. So this is how you can include. And then there's the page title as well, which can be the same with the H1 tag, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the same. It is the same, so you can check that. But if you ask me, it should be pretty much the same. I mean, yeah. So if you include your keyword in all these 3 places, that's going to be a strong relevancy sign from Google. But it should still be useful and easy to read for the users as well. Okay. Another thing about technical SEO and about relevancy is that Google reads the code about images as well. So every image that you put on the website has a code behind it, and it looks something like this. It says that it is an image, and then it has the source, which will be the URL where the image can be found on the server, on the website. And this would be, the alt would be a description of the image that Google reads, because Google can't really read the image. I mean, we are starting to have quite strong image search engines nowadays, and I'm sure Google will start to be more and more able to read images better and better, but they are still gonna look at these descriptions. So and this title is the one that shows when the it says here as well, when the user hovers over the image. So it's also a strong relevancy factor if you include your keyword in the src, alt, and title of this image as well. Okay. The headings we already talked about. As you can see, there are 6 of them. The first one is obviously most important, and it should be only 1 per page. And then you can have multiple H2s and H3s. And those you shouldn't just try to overdo using them. You should just break content into different structures in such a way that is useful for the user as well. So don't try to just stuff keywords or overdo H tags just like that. Just make sure it's a good user experience too. Okay. Now the next thing that you can do on this page is to make sure that you have a meta description, a proper meta description as well. So what does that mean? This meta description is the description that shows in Google. So this kind of used to be a ranking factor before. I don't think it is anymore. It probably doesn't matter. We think it doesn't matter for Google if you include the keywords here in the meta description, but it matters for the user. So if you include the keyword, then it's going to be bolded. It's going to be more visible for the user, and it's going to be a relevancy sign for the user as well. So they will know what they're getting if they click on this link. Okay, so what's the question, Jim? Oh, so Jim is asking.
Yeah. Well, just because we got to go, and I'm sorry, I appreciate everything you're doing, and hopefully we can catch the rest of it when we come back. But are you using this keywording primarily in blogs? I know Adela asked a little bit about it, but are you? And then you start getting into meta tags or meta words, but where are you primarily using your keywording for the SEO that you've showed us from the graph and the results that you've had this great success this year compared to last year? Was that primarily in your blogs that has created this, you know, has it helped your ranking, or where else have you used it specifically?
In the blogs, in the category pages, in the product pages.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate everything, Gabe. All right. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks, Gabriel.
Sure.
All right.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so meta description, right? So if you have the keyword included here, that seems to be improving the click-through rate as well, the CTR. So more people will click on your link because they're convinced that you're relevant to what they're looking for. So it still helps. It doesn't help with ranking higher, but it helps with getting a higher click-through rate. So since that's the case, then it's good to include it here as well. And this would be the title. The title that you see here would be basically the title that is shown here as well. Yeah. Okay, next. So, okay, before we move on, any other question? Okay, no question. So still related to technical SEO is that duplicated content is not gonna help you rank. It's actually gonna is gonna deter Google from ranking you, because they think you are trying to manipulate the search engine by using the same content over and over again. Because it's easy to create duplicated content. It's not easy to create useful and fresh and new content all the time. So people used to overdo this a lot to create duplicate content, either to copy from other websites or to create a lot of duplicated keywords and stuff like that on the same on their own website. So what does this mean? This canonical tag tells Google that hey, this 3 pages are actually the same page. So meaning that your website actually can have multiple pages, multiple addresses where it serves basically the same page. So if I go to website.com or www.website.com or http website.com or https website.com or using slash or not using slash, or maybe using slash and then index.php and so on, you can see here multiple versions, but they're actually all the same page. So what do you do in this case is, first of all, you for the users, it's helpful to have a redirect in your htaccess file. And yeah, unfortunately, I don't show here how it's a bit technical, but you can search for it later. And for Google, what you can do is that if your platform that you use for your site, WordPress or for e-commerce, Shopify or whatever you use, it might already have this or it might not. So you can check when you if you check the code of your website, and you can just go on your website, right click and click on inspect element, and you'll be able to check your website code. And if it has if you find something like rel canonical like this, then you have this already and you don't need to worry. But if you don't have it, then Google might not know which page is the real one, and are you trying to manipulate the search engine or not? So it's going to be quite difficult to know. But when you do this, then it's like saying to Google, hey, you know what? All these variations is actually only one page. Don't try to rank every single one of them or whatever. Just consider them as only one, and they're going to be okay with that. And this is how you add it. So how you can verify if your website code, that let's say I go to Google, I right click. I mean you go to your website, not to Google obviously, but you can do this on any website, and you click on view page source, and you can see here stuff. So you can search for canonical. Does it have? Google doesn't have a canonical tag, so we need to penalize him. But yeah, joke aside, that's the process. Okay. Any questions before I move on? Okay. So local SEO. Okay, this is an interesting topic. Why? So you see, nowadays Google is not throwing just results, only text results like they used to do. They're trying to be more, I don't know, more user friendly or whatever, and they show a lot of other stuff as well, like maps, like videos, like a lot of other stuff that we're going to show later as well. So meaning that you can have different tactics to rank in different areas. And with the local SEO, what you can do is to rank in a specific city, for example. So I've heard that is about 50% of the searches or so, they are local. So something like, maybe I search restaurants near me. What does near me means? It depends or on where I am. So Google will look at my location, at my GPS, and say, hey, you're in Singapore, I'm going to show you restaurants that are in Singapore. But where are you exactly? At this latitude and longitude. Okay, I'm going to look for places that are closer to you. So that's what this map will try to show me, the places that are closest to me, that are relevant for what I'm looking for. So that means that you can see here, this map result outranks everything else. So this is actually my website. You can see for this query, which has actually a lot of search volume, I ranked the first one, meaning that I can take a lot of, I can obviously take a lot of traffic from this, and it's actually easier to overrank competitors than just trying to rank higher in the list results. And how do you do this? Well, first of all, you need to be relevant. So this Christmas trees, my website is about Christmas trees. I cannot rank for dogs, right? Because my website is not about dogs. So relevancy is a key factor. Now, another thing is the location. So this listing shows because it's a listing that done in Bucharest. So on my website, it says that my company is in Bucharest. My store is in Bucharest. And the map listing that I created, it also says that my company is in Bucharest. And this is the specific location. So of course that if I do this search from Bucharest, then I'm going to be one of the companies that show up because I'm there, right? But if there are many more out there, how does Google choose which one to show? So one of the factors is the number of reviews. You can see here actually that I have the most and highest and best reviews out there from these 3 results, and actually from anyone else in this niche in Bucharest. Actually, I think in entire Romania, to be honest, because this is a small niche. So yeah, not that many competitors either. Okay, what else? They also look at they also look at your content on the website. So maybe okay, they look at 2 things: content on the website and content in the reviews themselves, in the texts. So if my clients give reviews and specify that they bought this kind of product from me, then that's again another relevancy factor. And if they gave 5-star reviews and they use happy words, I mean positive words, then Google will know that that's a good experience. Hey, okay, I'm going to rank this website because because the clients are happy with it. And another thing about relevancy is the location itself. I've talked about it a bit earlier, but you can also give more location relevancy by creating pages on your website related to the city that you want to rank for. So I want to rank for Bucharest. I didn't need to because the competition is low, but I can create pages like how to find Christmas trees in Bucharest, where to buy Christmas trees from Bucharest, how much does a Christmas tree cost in Bucharest, stuff like that. So I can create a few pages like this, maybe 3, 4, 5, I don't know, depends on what the competitors are doing as well. And I'm going to have even higher chances to rank for people to rank in this map result for searches that are happening in Bucharest. And to be honest, Bucharest is the most important city for me because it's the capital and there's the most it's the biggest city in Romania, and most money is in Bucharest. I mean, most clients are in Bucharest and so on, and they're it is the richest city in Romania as well. So if I rank in Bucharest, I already know from analytics that's gonna make me good money. Okay, so this would be another result for a different query, similar but not exactly the same. Here you can see that I ranked the second one. I don't rank the first one, and if you ask me why, I'm not really sure, because I'm actually very relevant for the search, and I actually have more reviews than the other one. So there might be some unknowns there as well that I cannot tell you, but yeah. And then you see, Google shows image results as well. So what you can do is you can get a lot of traffic from these images as well, because the customers can search and then they see this nice product. This first one is actually mine, and they say, oh, this is so nice, and they click on it and they get to my website and they buy. So you can optimize for this as well. How is by first of all, of course, having content related to what you want to rank for, like we talked about so many times already, but also by optimizing the images for search, like we show here, like in image URL, in the description, in the alt description, in the title, adding the keyword that you want to rank for. But of course, don't spam. I mean, if you add some keywords to that image, make sure that the image is related to the keywords that you use. I mean, don't use a cat here to when the people are searching for Christmas trees. Yeah, doesn't make sense, and you're gonna at some time Google will derank you, because Google will not users will not click on you, so he finds out that you're actually not relevant. So that's another factor, that if you use if you provide a good user experience, Google can tell that, and you have chances of ranking higher. So this is another ranking factor that I didn't discuss about, but let's say you're on the 3rd position and other companies are on the 1st and 2nd position, and somehow, because you have a more interesting title, you get a lot of people to click on your link, more than it's usually expected for the 3rd position, because Google have their stats and they know. So that means you're very relevant. And if the users remain on your page and don't turn back to search and click on someone else, then they know that you're relevant. If they go back and go to someone else, they know you're not relevant, and so on. So that's why user experience is important. And Google can easily find out now how is the experience that you provide to users based on what I've told you earlier. So by having a good user experience, everything else being aside, even if you rank on 3rd position, because Google sees that you offer a better user experience than the 1st and 2nd position, they can decide at some point to actually put you number 1. Yeah. So even if the other sites maybe have higher authority than you do, or more links than you do, or more relevancy than you do, they can still choose that. So be helpful and don't spam. Yeah. So next thing is rich snippets or structured data. It pretty much refers to the same thing. Is some other stuff that Google tries to show in the results in the 1st positions, and you can outrank with stuff like that, like this as well. So if you create some recipes, then you can create the code in such a way. You might need to access the code to be able to add this. But if you add this kind of stuff, then like the cook time, you see there's this code item prop cook time and how many calories and stuff like that. Then Google will take all this data and show it to the user in a nice format, which will increase your CTR, your click-through rate. So a lot of people will click on this because it has an image, and because it has some reviews, some rating, and because it gives so much information. Looks so useful and yummy that I want to click, right? So you can do that, and you can even if you don't rank number 1, you can still get a lot more traffic than expected on the position that you are, because you have some extra stuff like this rating. So even if this result would be the 2nd one, not the 1st one, if it has the rating and the price and the in-stock information, then it might get more clicks than the 1st one. So you actually care about the results you get in the end, and about how much clients you get and how much money you make, not about where you are. So you can use this to your advantage. Another example of rich snippets, it's besides this image results, is a listicle, let's call it, an article that is a list. So seems like seems like users like to have are looking for this kind of lists for this search term. So how to decorate a Christmas tree? If I want to rank 1st, or if I want to rank high on 1st page of Google for this keyword, for this search term, then it's going to be much easier if I just use the same type of intent, meaning that instead of just trying to create a random blog post, just to create a post that has a list of how to do number 1, number 2, and so on. Okay. And Actually, if you're already in the first page, if you format your post, including the rich snippet that Google wants to see for this search term, even if you're on the 9 or 10 position, if no one else is doing this, then you have a chance to become #1. So you're going to still rank on the 9th position, but you're going to have an extra position here for the rich snippet, which is also called sometimes position 0, because it comes before the first position. So you can outrank everyone else and get all the, I mean, not all the traffic, but lots more traffic. Yeah. Then other times Google might prefer to see videos as well. So this is also about how to decorate a Christmas tree, but it's in Romanian. You see, I'm actually, for the text, I'm actually the first position, but I don't have a video. So what does this mean is that other people are ranking higher because they have video. So I should make a video as well to rank here for this keyword. And video is so huge right now. I mean, and it gets bigger and bigger every day. And the demand gets higher, and actually the second search engine after Google is YouTube. So in competitive countries like US, if you want to rank, it's you're gonna have way more chances with videos, because the competition is already so high in some niches that it's going to take quite long for you to become #1 for a search term like this. For me, because I'm in Romania, I'm in a which has low competition compared to US, and because my niche is not too competitive either, then of course it's easier for me to become #1, at least on some queries where I'm not first on all the important queries that I want, at least not yet. So it seems like we are approaching the end. So we talked about why SEO and why this channel is important. We talked about the ranking factors, and there are so many of them, and of course we didn't cover all of them, but we covered the ones that are more important. Yeah, and with the information that you have from this, I don't know, course or guide or whatever you want to call it, you can actually do a lot of good stuff and rank high on Google. We've talked about on-page and off-page SEO as well. Actually, we've talked more just about a bit about the differences between them, but this was mainly about on-page SEO. We're going to cover off-page in another video. And of course, we've talked about content hubs or content silos, pillar pages, topical clusters, and so on. So this, I haven't said yet, but this is useful to link like in a wheel structure. What does this mean? So you have your pillar page. Pillar page would be your money page, the page that gives you customers. So that can be a category page or a product page, or can be a landing page for some services that you gain leads from, and so on. That's your most important page. That's the money maker for you, right? So you create posts related to that subject, and you link each of these posts that are related. So don't create unrelated stuff. You link back to your money page, and each post will also link to previous post and to next post. So you create basically like a wheel that each post links to the next post, and the next one to the next one, and so on, like a wheel. And each supporting post links back to the money page. So all this internal linking will help with relevancy and will help with authority. So basically, it will show Google that your website is on a big authority in your niche. Yeah, we talked about expertise, authority, and trust. We've talked about long tail keywords and how you can rank easier with stuff that has lower competition. We've talked about search intent and how important it is to match your content to what the user expects and is looking for. We've talked about the keyword research and the keyword gap. So keyword gap meaning the analysis between you and competitors, and you can find out opportunities, keywords that your competition is ranking for and you might want to rank for as well. We've talked about how to optimize your content, meaning maybe include some more keywords, maybe include some more relevant related keywords, maybe cover the topic in more depth, so increase the number of words on your topic and so on. We've talked about keyword stuffing and why it's important to avoid it, and because it's spammy. First of all, no one likes that. Yeah, and we talked about entities as well, the knowledge graph, how Google can tell the difference between different things. So this means that Google doesn't want you to just use keywords and that's it. So it wants you to talk about things, yeah. So cover a topic in more depth, so that both user and the search engine understands better and is more helpful for the user as well. And we've talked about the related keywords. I prefer to call them related keywords. LSI, latent semantic illicit, doesn't mean anything for me. I don't know why it's called like that, but anyway. So we've talked about technical SEO as well. And of course, we didn't cover everything here, but we've covered the more crucial parts and the duplicate content and how we can avoid it. And we've talked about local SEO and rich snippets, which can help you to boost your website faster compared to just trying to rank for the traditional results, let's call them. So yeah, thanks for your attention. See you next time. So make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and yeah, go to my LinkedIn, add me, and so on. And yeah, before we go, let's see if we have any questions.
Thank you, Gabriel. This was amazing. I think I'm gonna re-listen to it a couple of times because some of it was like, okay, I don't know.